One of the biggest problems for poker players is that the presence of luck in the equation makes it really easy to say when bad things happen to me, it's because of I just had bad luck. And when good things happen to me, it's because I played really well. It's one of the biggest problems that we have in general as decision makers. If all the bad things that happen to you are because you got unlucky, then there's nothing to learn from it. I talk in the book about something called tilt, which is also a term borrowed from poker, which in turn is a term borrowed from pinball machines. So if anybody's played with a mechanical pinball machine, if you shake it too much, it will just shut down. Our brains are very similar. If you shake it too much with emotion, then your ability to really kind of reason and think rationally and be a good decision maker shuts down in the same way that a pinball machine does. Tilt is really the enemy of good decision making because we become very emotional. We become very caught up in the moment. We're thinking about sort of how we feel in the moment as opposed to what our long-term goals are or how to execute on those long-term goals. Like whether we're happy or sad is not an average of everything that sort of happened over our lifetimes or even in the last month or even in the last week, or even sometimes just in the last day. It's very path dependent. Imagine that you go to a casino and you're playing blackjack, and you start off the night and you're winning $1,000. Like you just hit blackjack, 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 and dealers paying you. And you don't quit when you're up $1,000 because let's say your friends want to keep playing. And so you continue to play, and now, as good as it was in the beginning, it's just that bad over the next, hour and a half, and you have this downward slide until you finally quit winning $100. And I ask people how do you think you'd feel about that? And universally people say, I'd be really sad. So they're very, very sad in this case where they start off $1,000 up and they end up only winning $100. And then I say, okay, let's look at the reverse situation. You start off the night and the dealer's hitting blackjack every single time, so that you start off losing $1,000. But now things really turn around, you start doing much better, and you end the night down 100. How do you feel? And people always answer happy. And I say, well, that's very weird, because in the first case, you won $100 and you're sad. And in the second case, you lost $100 and you're really happy. So this is such a good example of, first of all, how our emotions can certainly distort our decision making, but also how incredibly path dependent we are in the way that we're processing how we feel about how things are going. Okay, let's say that the same thing happened, but it was a year ago. What are you happier about now, winning $100 or losing $100? And notice that by saying a year ago, it makes you think about sort of the course, right? The whole course of time a little bit better. And everybody then says, well, I'm happier if I win $100. So being able to pull yourself out of the moment where you're on that path and that path has distorted the way that you feel and get yourself to have a more broad picture is one of the ways to become a much more rational decision maker.